Ashrei Yoshvei Ve'techa On Yalucha Salah Ashrei Shekach Lo Ashrei Shadonai Eloha Tila Rabbi Tehilat Adonai Davar Pi Vivarech Kol Basar Shem Kodshel Lamoed V'anachnu Nevarech Yah Me'atav Yad Olam Hallelujah. We now rise in body and spirit as we begin the Mincha Amidah together on page 3b, and then we continue silently pages 5 through 10, remembering to include those portions for Pesach which can be found on page 7, page 3b. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei HaKol V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Mevi Goel Livnei B'neihem L'man Shmo V'Yahava Melech Hoser Forkedu Moshe Amagein Baruch Ata Adonai Magen Abraham Ufoked Sarah Ata Gibor Elam Adonai Mechayei Meitim Atarav Loshia Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed Mechayei Meitim Rachamim Rabim Zomech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim Umatir Asurim Mekayem Emunatol Shenei Afar Michamocha B'Gvorot Umidam Elach Melech Mimirim Chayam Atzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman Atalach Hayom Mitim Baruch Atah Adonai V'chayei Mitim Baruch Atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. If you are still reciting the Amidah, please feel free to continue. We'll move forward with Aleinu, page 11, standing in body and spirit, page 11. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakola latet gedula liotzer breshit shelo asanu kigoye aratzot velo samanu kimishbechot ha'adama shelo sam chelkenu kahem v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu korim v'mishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shana Shemayim V'Yazar Aretz Moshe V'Chol Moshe Mishkan. Kakatu b'toratecha Adonai yimloch l'olam va'ed v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai L'melech al kol haaretz bayom ahu yihya Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Those in mourning or observing a yard site during the mincha service, please remain standing as we enable our microphones and share our voices for Kaddish Tome, page 12. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbi.
Amen.
V'yalmad divrah kirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. B'agala uvizman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbi mevorach v'yalam alamei almaya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei kudasha brichu Elam min kol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata damiran bi'olma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Well, Shabbat shalom, everybody. As I shared with June and Jerry when they walked in, I have some bad news and some good news, or some good news and some bad news. The good news is it's Pesach. The bad news is it's Pesach, right? So now I got more good news and bad news. The good news is we are so happy from eating all that matzah and all the good stuff that we're eating. And you can see the happiness on everyone's face here today. That the bad news is we don't do Kabbalat Shabbat because it's just not done. It's a tradition called Isru Chag. You're already so happy from the Chag that you don't need the uplift. And so literally our Luach, I think most of you have seen it, the Luach, it instructs us not to do Kabbalat Shabbat tonight. So we are going to start a very, very, very abbreviated Kabbalat Shabbat. We go all the way through Lachadodi and skip that. And so where we pick up is on page 23 with the Psalm for Shabbat. Mizmor shir leyom ha-Shabbat tov lodot l'Adonai ulezamer l'shimcha elyon ulezamer l'shimcha elyon להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות עלי עשור ועלי נבל עלי היגיון בכינור מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון. ישמח לנו בפועל לך מעשה ידיך עיני מקלמות. ישפר לרסלים ונצא ברסלים. צדיק אתה המר יפרח כארז בלבנון Yiskem Shetulim Beveit Adonai Bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafarichu Ad Yenuvun B'Seiva Deshenim Birananim Yiyum Lehagid Ki Ashar Adonai Turi Velo Avlatabo. Page 24. I don't know my luck. Mi kolod mayim rabim adirim mishperek yam adir b'marom Adonai edotecha nemenu meod Leveit Chanav HaKodesh Adonai Leorech Yamim. Mourners and those observing yard site during our Ma'ariv service, please rise for Kaddish Tome, page 24, the bottom. Yit Gadal v'Yitgadash Shemei Rabbah B'Alma Divara Kirutei V'Yamlich Malchutei V'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala uvizman kariv imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach Le'alam Olamei Almaya Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh Yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal Shemei Kudusha Brechu Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbachata v'nechemata damiran bi'olma v'imru Amen.
Amen.
Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen.
Amen.
So before we move on to the Ma'ariv service, and pardon me for the short prep notice here. However, I'll do just a brief talk here. So those of you that are here know that from time to time I do Torah reading here. I mean, it's one of the things I do, right? So it was Pesach on Tuesday morning. It was Pesach on Wednesday morning. Tomorrow it's going to be Chol HaMoed Pesach, and then we got more Pesach, the Chag, on Monday and Tuesday morning. Actually, you read all 8 days. The funny thing is, of course, the Maft here, except for the first 2 days, which has 3 extra verses, is the same all 8 days. And what's it about? It's about Pesach. Go figure. It's about, eating matzah and 7 days and this and that. So it's exactly what you'd expect it to be. But the reading each day is not so much during Chol HaMoed except for Shabbos, but it's different every day. So what are we reading about tomorrow? We don't, normally we would be at the portion of Acharei Mot in the middle of Leviticus, but we're not because we take a break because it's Chol HaMoed Shabbat. So what are we reading about tomorrow? Part of it is, now it's from the portion of Ki Tisa in Exodus, which is the one that's famous for the half shekel. So clearly we know this is kind of a post-Exodus deal, if you will, right? I mean, because what's Pesach about? It's about the Exodus, right? It's about Yetziat Mitzrayim, leaving Egypt. But clearly this happens after the fact. The half shekel is earlier in the portion, but where we get to here, among other things, it's is the breaking of the tablets. Okay, so where Moses goes through that, and actually God calls him out on it in what we read tomorrow. Now we also talk about all the holidays. We talk about Pesach and Shavuot and Sukkot, and we go through all that. But what's interesting is you say, well, why read that? Well, first of all, I think there's a lot of days. You have to read a lot of parts. This is after the fact. It may be after the fact, but it's hard to argue that it's not all related. I mean, it's all related. You know, were it not for the Exodus, we wouldn't have come out on the other side. There wouldn't have been, you name it, there wouldn't have been manna, what we sing in Dainu, right? All of that. And there wouldn't have been the kvetching, right? Because as much as they hated being in Egypt, as much as the Jews we hated being in Egypt. I don't want to say they, right? Then I become the wicked child from the Haggadah, right? So anyway, when we came out of Egypt, you know, we had it bad in Egypt, but we had it good in Egypt, right? I mean, we didn't have good food, but we had food, right? So, and we didn't have a lot of stuff, but we had water. So we came out and we started fetching, and there's the golden calf, and, you know, Moses throws the tablets, and so that's part of what we read about tomorrow, because frankly, it all ties in. I mean, that's the great thing about our history. You can't get to point B without point A, and someday we'll be at point C. Of course, I hope it's better than what's going on now, particularly on the campuses in our country, but that being said, we're all tied together, each generation one to another, lador vador, and I think that's something to take out of tomorrow's parsha. So with that in mind, Shabbat Shalom. So now it is time to light the candles. Do we have anybody out there that would like to volunteer to light the candles? Avoid the danger of me lighting candles. Very good. Okay. Thank you, June. You got voluntold, huh? Pesky matchbox. There we go. Don't worry, we have about another 2 hours before the sun sets. You're good. Is there one on the other side? Maybe that'll... I try a new match in the other. Oh, there we go. 10th time's the charm. All right, there we go. There we go.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'hitzivanu l'chadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I would say talk to somebody you don't know, but I think you all know each other. So, you know, two sets of spouses sitting next to each other, and one other person. So we got, you know, and then me. So, hello to everybody. Shabbat Shalom to all y'all. And we'll start in a second with the Ma'ariv service. Okay, without a minion actually physically in the room, we will begin in the middle of page 28 after the call to worship. Baruch atah U'ma'avir yom u'me'evi layla, ma'abdil ben yom u'vein layla, Adonai tzva'ot shemo, el chaya v'kayam. Tamidim lo chalil le'olam ba'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Amariv aravim. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, b'shokveinu b'kumeinu, nasiach b'chukecha, v'nitzmach b'divrei Toratecha, u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki heim chayinu v'yorech yameinu, v'yorech yameinu, uvahem nege yomam v'layla, yomam v'layla. V'yahavatcha tasrimim le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael, El Melech Ne'eman, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Me'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavecha, v'chol nafshecha, u'v'chol meodecha, v'hayu advarim ha'ele, asher anochi mitzavecha, hayom alevavecha, v'shinantam alevanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivdecha b'veitecha, v'lachtecha v'derech, uv'shochbecha v'kumecha, u'kshartam le'ot hayadecha, v'yule totafo beinenecha, u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uv'hisharecha v'yayim shmot shmum v'tzatay shenach v'tzatay. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Page 32. The Menachos of Himalaya. U'malchuto b'ratzon kiblu aleihem Moshe v'nei Yisrael achanu shira b'simcha rabba v'amru chulam mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh norat hilot osef elem Malchutecha ra'uvanecha, Bokei yam lifnei Moshe, Ze lianu v'amru, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, V'ne'emar kifad Adonai et Yaakov, U'yalo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael. Let's read together the Hashkivenu prayer, page 33. Help us, Adonai, in English at the top of the page. Help us, Adonai, to lie down in peace and awaken us again, our sovereign, to life. Spread over us your shelter of peace. Guide us with your good counsel. Save us because of your mercy. Shield us from enemies and pestilence, from starvation, sword, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, O God, who watches over us and delivers us, our gracious and merciful ruler. Guard our coming and our going. Grant us life and peace now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Praised are you, Adonai, who spreads the shelter of peace over us, over all his people Israel, and over Yerushalayim. Ushmor tzeitin v'oinu l'chaim u'l'shalom me'etavia adolam. U'v'rosal n'tzukat shlomecha, Baruch atah Adonai, Haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'yal kol amo Yisrael, v'yal Yerushalayim. Please rise as we continue with Vishamru, page 34. V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. La'asod et ha-Shabbat. L'dorotam berit olam. Ay, ay, ay. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam. Ki sheishet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash. We remain standing as we turn to the Amidah for Shabbat, and it will be the one on page 35b, remembering to include the paragraph for Chol Moed Pesach at the bottom of page 36, but it will be silent pages 35b through 38. Shalom Rachav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rachav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon Lechol hashalom, ki ata melech Adon. Lechol hashalom, shalom rachav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Shalom rachav al Yisrael amcha, Tasim leolam, v'tov be'einecha levarech et amecha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, tasim leolam, tasim leolam. We remain standing for what will be a very mini repetition of the Amidah, first paragraph, page 47. Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzivam vayechal Elohim bayom hashvi melachto asher asa vayishbot bayom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa vayevarech Elohim at Yom Hashvi'i, vayekadesh oto, kivo Shabbat mikol melachto, kivo Shabbat mikol melachto, asher bara, asher bara, asher bara Elohim lasot. Do we have wine for everybody, or do you all have to share with me? How does that work? I drink alone. That's great. Okay, wonderful. I hope it's grape juice. All right, we'll remain standing for the, there goes that. Okay, Kiddush for Shabbat, page 49. Savri Maranam Rabbanam Rabotai, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei Peri Hagafen, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzav banu, v'shabbat kodsho b'yavav ratzon inchilanu, zikaron le'maseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim, Kivanu v'acharta, v'yotanu kidashta, mikol hamim, v'shabbat kodshecha, b'yavahu v'ratzon, hinechaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh HaShabbat. Please remain standing as we will continue actually well. We'll do the Omer first. So as you know, there's a custom not to tell you in advance what day it is. And so we would say, for example, last night, it was the third day. But I think I've come up with a new custom for Pesach, which is take the day of Pesach it is and subtract one, right? Because it's the second Seder, right? I screwed that up yesterday at Minyan, actually, okay? So today begins the fifth night of Pesach. So do with that what you will, but also last night was the third night of the Omer. Page 55. I am ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer as it is ordained in the Torah. You shall count from the eve of the second day of Pesach, when an Omer of grain is to be brought as an offering, 7 complete weeks. The day after the 7th week of your counting will make 50 days. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, instilling in us the holiness of mitzvot by commanding us to count the Omer. Now we turn to page 56. Hayom arba'a yamim la'omer. Today marks 4 days in the counting of the Omer in our 49-day journey towards Shavuot, June 12th. All right. Page 51, we'll continue with the Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kigoyei ha'aratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה השמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, ויראת היום השבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. אוקיי, נקבל בזה. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו echad. You may be seated. On this, the 19th day of the month of Nisan, we remember those who are mourning those that are in their Shloshim period, the loss of Shirley Miller, mother to Michael and Donna Miller, Suzanne Chanin Hare, cousin to Erica and Andy Coswith, Adele Morris, mother to Wendy Haber, and Amos Sonny Gillespie, husband of Gwenda Gwen Gillespie, father of Rebecca and Andy Zager. In addition, we note the yahrzeits today of Murray Friedman, husband to Lynn Friedman, father of Abe Friedman and Anna Friedman, Stanley Garber, loved one to Marcia Epstein, Libby Kreitman, the mother of Janet Snyder, David Edward Pardo, father of Delcy Pardo Harbor, Olga Schreck, mother to Rita Levine, Ruby Eplin Goldstein, mother of Betty Ann Schusterman, and I.J. Coach Kaplan, father of Francis Kaplan. In addition, we remember those whose loved ones come to Minyan morning and evening, recalling those in the 11 months, Louis Saul, Sam Dralick, Rick Blum, Larry Weiner, Hyman Shapiro, Hazel Karp, Stephen Goldstein, Herb Neuwirth, Alvin Minsk, Susan Schlansky, all the victims of the Israeli war, Gladys Hirsch, Sergeant Rose Ida Lubin, Joe Marcus, Philip Kleiman, Jay Rothbaum, Charlotte Gordon, Louise Baum, Susanna Gravely, Max Henry Crone Jr., Alan David Benjamin, Barbara Rabhan, Sergeant William Jerome Rivers, Specialist Kenny Layden Sanders, and Specialist Brianna Alexandria Moffitt, Paula Sunshine, Jillian Rowland, and Charlotte Korenblum. Are there any names I omitted? We ask those in mourning observing yahrzeit to please rise as we join in their voices, offering them support. Kaddish Yatom, Mourners Kaddish, page 52. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbi, v'yalma divara kirute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'izman kariv imru amen.
Amen.
Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach le'alam alamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, Shmei Kudasha, Briachu, Le'elam min kol birchata, v'shirata, tush b'chata, v'nechemata, damiran bi'olma, v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Hoseh shalom b'imrumav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Well, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I'm not usually one to give announcements, but I'm going to do the best off the top of my head based on the fact that I have listened when I've come for the past few weeks. So I think I know some of this, okay? We can start with the services because that'll be the easy part, right? So there's services here tomorrow at 9:30. They'll be led by some rabbi that used to work here full-time. Neil Sandler's his name, and he'll be showing up tomorrow to lead the service. So that's at 9:30. I want to say 7:15 tomorrow night is Mincha, Mariv, and Havdalah. It's got to be somewhere around that time. I can get the specifics, but Shabbat ends around 8:45, so that would make sense. Are you sure about that? Okay, I'm being told it's only on Zoom, which is interesting because I was going to drive down here. So I hope you're correct about that. That would be great. So, okay, the jury is still out on whether there will be people in the building tomorrow or not. Well, Rabbi Sandler will be here tomorrow morning as well, and we can ask him. Yeah, somebody who's more competent than I will give like real announcements tomorrow, and we'll have that. We'll get that squared away. In addition, of course, there's services here Sunday morning at 9 a.m., Sunday evening minyan at 6 p.m. That begins the Chag. That's online. Monday morning for day 7, we'll be here at 9:30 a.m. The 7th night will be virtual only, and that's at 6 p.m. Tuesday morning is the 8th day, and that's Yizkor, and that'll start at 9:30 a.m. also. Yizkor itself will start around 11:30 a.m. There will be, as you know, Rabbi Rosenthal has really liked to make a tradition of calling either Holocaust survivors or, sadly now because there aren't that many, relatives and descendants of those Holocaust survivors to speak about the Holocaust during this particular, because Holocaust Memorial Day comes kind of right on the heels of the end of Pesach. So I know Tuesday night is the one night all year, other than I think, Ne'ilah, right, for Yom Kippur, where we don't have services right at 6 o'clock. It'll be probably at like 8 or 8:15. There will be details about that because we don't end Pesach before we end Pesach. So, and Pesach will end somewhere around 8:50 or 9 o'clock at night. So, the disadvantage of living on the west end of the time zone, I guess, right? It starts late, but it ends late. That's how it goes. So, oh well. In addition, I know Gail Solomon would appreciate the plug for the blood drive, which will be a week from Sunday. That's May 5th. That's also the same day, and let me try not to confuse. That's a Yom HaZikaron event that day, I believe. May 12th is a Yom HaShoah event. That will be out at Greenwood Cemetery. But again, those details will be brought out in more detail tomorrow. Anything else that needs to be mentioned here? Okay.
You're doing a great
I
job.
reversed them then. Okay, I'm sorry. That's right. Yom HaShoah always comes before Yom HaZikaron. That makes sense. Right, Yom HaZikaron is right before Yom HaAtzmaut. That's right. So, right, you got it. So I flipped them. That's right. Yom HaShoah would be the 5th. Yom HaZikaron would be May 12th. And there's community commemorations for those. I know the one for Yom HaShoah will be at Greenwood Cemetery, as it is every year. I want to say 11 in the morning. It's late morning. Okay. So with that in mind, we will conclude. And by the way, for those of you that bought tickets to tonight's service on Ticketmaster, StubHub, I'm sorry if you weren't told and you felt you got snookered into there's no Kabbalat Shabbat. I apologize. There's no Kabbalat Shabbat. I don't know what to tell you. It doesn't happen today. Sorry about that. So you'll be going home a little early. It is what it is. Sorry. But we're going to conclude with Yigdal on page 53. Yigdal Elohim Chai ve'yishtabach נמצא ויהנה אל מציאותו, אחד ואין יחיד כי ייחודו, נעלם וגם אין סוף לאחדותו, אין לו דמות הגוף ואינו גוף, לא נערוך אליו קדושתו, כמון לכל דבר אשר נברא, ראשון ואין ראשית לראשיתו, הינו אדון עולם וכל נוצר, יורה גדולתו ומלכותו, שפע נבואתו נתנו, אל אנשי סגולתו ותפארתו, לא קם בישראל כמו שעוד, נביא ומביט את אמונתו, תורת אמת נתן לעמו אל, על יד נביאו נעמד ביתו, לא יכל יפעל ולא ימיר דתו, לעולמים לזולתו. צופה ויודע שתרנו, מביט לסוף דבר בקדמתו. גומל איש חסד כמפעלו, נותן לרשע רע כרישתו. ישלח לקץ הימין משיחנו, לפתור מחכה קץ ישועתו. מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך עדי עד שם תהילתו. מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך עדי עד שם תהילתו. Shabbat shalom, everybody, and moadim l'simcha.
Good job, Jordan. Thank you so much.
Jordan, thank you. You're